Hello everyone. Uh, in the last two videos on DC circuit, which is outcome 1, we have already discussed about series and parallel circuits individually. So we are aware about the formulas, but today I'm going to discuss about basically I'm going to take a numerical question on a combination of series and parallel circuit. Okay, so let's look at the numerical question. Now, the question says that for the following network, we have to determine the resultant resistance, the supply current, the voltage drop across R1, right, and few other parameters here. So we are going to take one of them at a time, one part at a time. But if we look at the circuit here, we could see that it's quite a complex circuit, and it includes several resistances which are connected in series as well as in parallel. Okay, so now let's start solving this numerical. So let's take the first part A. So in part A, we have to find the resultant resistance, or the overall or the equivalent resistance of this entire circuit. Now, while solving this question to find the resultant resistance, our main intention is to reduce the circuit. Okay, so basically, by the end of this part, I should be able to find the single value of resistance which represents all these resistance here, right? So I have to reduce all these 6 resistances into a single resistance. Okay, so there are certain steps which I find quite useful for solving this type of numerical, and I'm going to share it with you. So the first step that I follow for solving such type of numerical questions is I trace the flow of current in the circuit. Okay, so the current, it starts from the positive terminal of the battery and flows to the negative terminal of the battery, right? So the current in this circuit, it will flow in clockwise direction like that. Okay, so let's say some current I is flowing in the circuit. So current starts from the positive terminal and it flows into R2, right? Now after flowing through R2 at junction J1, the current, because you have two paths, right? Two different paths in which current can flow. So at junction J1, the current will get divided into two parts. So let's say I'm calling the first part of the current is I1 and the second part of the current is I2. Okay. So at junction J1, this current I will get split or divided into two currents, I1 and I2. So some portion of the current, of the supply current I, will flow in this path, and the remaining portion of the current will flow in this path. Okay. So the current I1 will flow through R2, and then it will continue to flow, and then finally it will flow through R6, and after that it will flow through these branches and come back at J1. Now current I2 will flow through R3, and then it will flow through R4 and again join at J1. So at junction J1, both this current I1 and I2, they will combine together, and finally the overall current, or the main supply current I, will start to flow in R1. Okay, and then they will flow back to the negative terminal. Now after tracing the flow of current in the circuit, uh, basically I need to remember two things. The first thing is, if same current is flowing through two or more resistances, then they are connected in series. And if different current is flowing through two or more resistances, they are connected in parallel. Okay. So first step is to trace the flow of current, and you can name these current depending on your, you can name them anything. I have named it I1, I2. You can name it as per your will and fancy. Okay. Now, the next step is to start from the right hand side of the circuit, from this side of the circuit. Okay. And start reducing the circuit. Okay. So, starting from the right hand side of the circuit, the first resistance that I see is R6. Okay. The first resistance which I could see is R6 and R2. Right. So as I have traced the current, so this current in green, which is I1, so I1 is flowing through R2 and R6. So the same current is flowing through R2 and R6. So they are connected in series. Okay. So R2 and R6 are connected in series. Okay. So after that, what I will do is I will find its equivalent resistance. We have already discussed the formula for finding the equivalent resistance for series connected circuit or series connected resistances, right? It is simply the sum of the individual resistances. Okay, so R2 is 5 ohms and R6 is 5 ohms, right? So the equivalent resistance, I am calling it as R26. Okay, that will be sum of R2 plus R6, which are 5 plus 5 is 10 ohms. Okay, now after this step, what I would do is I would redraw the circuit, replacing the two resistances by its equivalent resistance, right? So I'm going to replace this R2 and R6 by its equivalent resistance, which I've just calculated, and redraw the circuit. Although this redrawing of circuit is a bit painful for some, but it is quite essential because it, divides the question into smaller steps and help us to visually see what we are doing. Okay. So as you can see, I have replaced these two resistances by its equivalent R26 over here. Okay. Now we will continue these two steps. Okay. We'll try and find the equivalent of some of the resistance and then redraw or replace those resistances by its equivalent value and redraw the circuit again and again. Okay. Now, so we have already found the equivalent resistance here. So this figure is the same as the one which I have drawn before, but it is a bit neat, right? It's much better figure here. Okay, so let's see. So we are going to continue this process until we reduce the entire circuit to a single resistance. Okay. Now this resistance is done. Now the next two resistances which I could find starting from the right hand side are R3 and R4. So again, if we see the current which is flowing through R3 and R4, we could see that I2 current is flowing through R3 and the same current is flowing through R4. So they are also connected in series. Okay, so R3 and R4 are connected in series. So again we are going to use the same formula for calculating the equivalent resistance of two or more resistances connected in series. So it is essentially the sum of the individual resistance. Okay, so R34, so I'm calling this equivalent resistance of R3 and R4 as R34. Okay, you can call it anything depending on you. Okay, so R34 is equal to R3 plus R4. Okay, because they are connected in series. Now the value of R3 is 8 ohms and R4 is 2 ohms. Okay, so simply add them together, I get 10 ohms here. Okay, so again what I will do is I will replace these two resistances by its equivalent value. Okay, so I have replaced R3 and R4 by a single resistance R34 with its equivalent value, which is 10 ohms. Okay, now again I will continue to try to reduce the right hand side of my circuit. So now I have reduced all the 4 resistances down to 2 resistances. Okay, there were 4 resistances on the right hand side. I have reduced it to 2 resistances. Now if I look at these two equivalent resistances, that is R34 and R26, what I see is through R26 I1 current is flowing and through R34 I2 current is flowing. So different currents are flowing through R26 and R34. So they are connected in parallel. If same current is flowing through two components, they are connected in series. If different current is flowing through two components, they are connected in parallel. So they are R34 and R26, they are connected in parallel. So I will apply the formula for parallel connected resistance. Okay, so here I have calculated the equivalent resistance of R34 and R26, and I'm calling it as R3-6. Okay, so I will apply that formula for parallel resistance, which is 1 divided by R34 plus 1 divided by R26. Okay, and both of them, they have the value 10. So I have substituted the value here and continued the calculation. So what I get is 1 divided by R3-6 is 2 divided by 10, which is 1 divided by 5, right? So after that, after doing this calculation, I have to take the inverse. Okay, don't forget to take the inverse. This is 1 divided by R36, so I have to take the inverse, and if I take the inverse, I will get R3-6 equal to 5 ohms. Okay, so these two resistances R34 and R26, now they can be replaced by its equivalent resistance R36, which is 5 ohms. Okay, so as you can see, in each and every step we are trying to reduce the circuit. Okay, so let's see. So as you can see, I have replaced the two resistances by its equivalent value of 5 ohms. Okay, now again I have kept the tracing of current in the circuit. So as you can see, uh, the supply current I is flowing through R2, and since there is no other path after R2, it has to flow through R36. So the same current, same supply current I will flow through R36, and then again it will continue to flow through R1. Okay, so all R3, R36 and R1, through all of them the same current is flowing. Okay, so they are connected in series. Okay, so again the last step, I would apply the formula for series connected resistances. Okay, so for series connected resistances, it is simply the sum of individual resistance. So R2 plus R36 plus R1. R2 is 1 ohm, R36 is 5 ohms, and R1 is 3 ohms. Substituted the values and finally added them together to get the equivalent resistance of the entire circuit, of the given circuit, as 9 ohms. Okay, so finally, if you want, you can maybe draw the final circuit with its equivalent resistance, or the overall, or the equivalent, or the total resistance. There are multiple names you call this resistance with. Okay, so the overall or the equivalent resistance, it comes out to be 9. Okay, so this is how we can replace all the 6 resistances by a single resistance. Yeah. Now moving on to the next part of this question. So the next part, if we have solved the first part correctly, the next part it becomes much easier. So in the next part, we have to calculate the supply current. So supply current is I. Okay. So for that, I am considering the final circuit in part A. So the resultant resistance, we found it to be 9 ohms, and the supply voltage was 50 ohms. Okay, 50 volts. Sorry. So we know the value of resistance, we know the value of voltage or the supply voltage, right? So using Ohm's law, we can calculate the supply current. Okay, V is equal to IR, or you can modify this equation, Ohm's law, as I is equal to voltage divided by resistance. Supply voltage is 50 volts, and the total or the equivalent resistance we have just calculated it to be 9 ohms. Right? You divide them, and finally you should get 5.56 amperes. Okay, so don't forget the unit. Okay. So this is the answer for part B. Now moving on to the next part, part C. We have to calculate the voltage drop across resistance R1. So referring to the given circuit, okay, let's see, where is R1? R1 is here, okay, and while tracing the flow of current in this circuit, what we have seen is that through R1, current flowing through R1 is the supply current I. Okay, so what happens is, after getting split at this junction, so the supply current gets split between two currents at this junction, and after flowing through the branches and the resistances at this junction, the two currents, they combine, right? So they will combine, so I1 plus I2 will become will be equal to I, and so current I is flowing through, or the supply current is flowing through R1. We have already calculated the supply current in the previous part, in the last part itself. It came out to be 5.56 amperes, and the value of R1 is given as 3 ohms. Okay, so again, using Ohm's law, we can calculate the voltage drop across resistance R1. I am calling it as V1. So V1, it will be equal to current I, or the supply current I, multiplied by R1. I, we have calculated it to be 5.56, multiplied by R1 is 3 ohms. Okay, so if you do the calculation correctly, you should end up getting 16.68 volts. Okay, so that's the answer for part C. Now moving on to the next part, part D. So we have to find the current I6. So I6 is here through resistance R6. Yes, through resistance R6 using current division rule. Okay. Now, so in this branch, the same current is flowing in this entire branch. Okay. Or you can say in the outer loop, the same current is flowing. Yeah. So previously we were calling it as I1, and now since we have named it as I6, so I would say the same current I6 is flowing through R2 and R6. Okay. Now for solving this question or this part of the question, I would consider the uh, the equivalent circuit drawn in step 4. Okay. uh, Step 4 for the first part. So previously we have reduced the circuit something like this. Okay. And yeah, I forgot to mention these two parts here. So you had R2 connected here, which is 1 ohm, and this side you had R1, which is 3 ohms, right? So basically I have reduced the two resistances here, right, previously. And so basically I need this type of a figure for using current division rule, right? So in step 4, if you refer back to the video, you could find this figure which I am considering. Alright, so if we have this figure, we can directly apply current division rule. So according to current division rule, I1 is equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2. I will write it down for you. So current division rule, it says I1 is equal to R2 divided by R1 plus R2 multiplied by the supply current. Okay. So if you are calculating, and basically this was the circuit for current division rule. Okay, so sorry, this is I1, R1, and this is R2. So if we have to calculate I1, we have to consider R2, the other resistance. Okay, other resistance should be at the top, on the top, and then divided by R1 plus R2 multiplied by the supply current. Okay, so this was your current division rule. Now if we apply this rule or this equation to find I6, so to find I6, to calculate I6, I have to consider, or basically R34 should be on the top. So R34 divided by R1 plus R2, right? So R34 plus R26, R34 plus R26, and the supply current or the current which is flowing is I. Okay, the supply current is I, so multiplied by I, and the supply current we have already found it to be 5.56. We have calculated it in part B. Okay, so we are going to use that value. R34 and R26 we have already calculated them, so we are going to use the same values. So simply substitute the values and do the calculation. You should end up getting 2.78 amperes. So don't forget to write the unit, amperes. So this is the answer for part D. Now it should be E. Yeah, it should be E. So in part E, we have to find the voltage drop V3 across resistance R3. So voltage drop V3 across resistance R3 using voltage division equation or voltage division rule. Now, so to solve this part, we have to follow two steps. In the first step, basically we have to find the voltage drop or voltage across R3 and R4 across this entire branch. Okay, across this entire branch with R3 and R4. So I will consider the first or the outer loop, okay, or the first loop. So I'm calling this as the outer loop. So I will call this as the inner loop or the first loop. Okay. So in this first loop, if you apply Kirchhoff voltage law, according to Kirchhoff voltage law, uh, the supply voltage is equal to the voltage drop across the resistances, sum of the voltage drop across the resistances. Okay, so let's say the voltage drop across R2 is VR2, and we have already named this branch or the voltage across R3 and R4 as V34, plus the voltage drop across R1, I'm calling it as V1. Okay, now the supply voltage is given 50 volts, and if I apply Ohm's law, VR2 or the voltage drop across R2 will be current multiplied by resistance. Since I already know that the current flowing through this R1, R2 is I, the supply current. Yeah, and the current flowing through R1 is also your supply current I. We have already calculated that value, and we are given with the R2 and R1, right? In the figure itself, we are given with the two values. So R2 is 1 ohm and R1 is 3 ohms. So if I substitute the values in the first term and the last term and try to calculate V3-4, that is the voltage across this branch. So I will rearrange this equation here, and I will write it as V3-4 is equal to 50 minus, I have taken I common. Okay, so I have kind of skipped one step here, but I hope you will understand. So I have taken I common, and in brackets it is R1 plus R2. Okay, all these values are given. I simply substitute the value and calculated the voltage drop across R3 and R4. It comes out to be 27.76 volts. Okay, now, so this is the first step. I have still not calculated V3, the voltage drop across R3, by applying voltage division equation. So since I have calculated the voltage across R3 and R4, now I can apply voltage division equation. So according to voltage division equation, if I am calculating V3, I should consider R3. Okay, in current division rule, it was the other resistance was at the top. Okay, so V3 is equal to R3 divided by R3 plus R4 multiplied by the voltage drop or the supply voltage, or the voltage drop across R3 and R4. Okay, so that is why the first step is to calculate that voltage. Only then you will be able to apply the voltage division equation. Okay, So again, if you apply this formula correctly, then substitute the values. So R3 is 8 ohms and R3 is 8 ohms again, plus R4 is 2 ohms. Okay, so R4 is 2 ohms multiplied by V3-4, or the voltage drop across R3 and R4 branch, is 27.76 volt. So I've substituted all the values, done the calculation, and the final answer, it comes out to be 22.208 volts. So that is the answer for part E, sorry. It should be part E. Okay. Now, so all the complex parts are over. Now we have to find the power dissipated in resistor R3. So R3 is here, okay, this one. So for calculating power, we have two formulas. Either you can calculate by using I square R, or you can use V square divided by R. Okay, so I would prefer to use V square divided by R. Although V3 we have calculated, R3 is given, you can calculate the current flowing through R3. Okay, but it's okay, it's up to you. You'll have to include one more calculation, so I'm trying to skip that one additional calculation. So I will use V square divided by R, because I have already calculated the voltage and the resistance is given. So V3 we have calculated it as 22.208. So V square is 22.208 square divided by R3. R3 is 8 ohms, right? If you do the calculation, you should end up getting 61.68 watts. Okay. Now in the last part, we have to calculate the energy dissipated in resistor R3, in the same resistor R3, in 10 milliseconds. Okay, so time is given as 10 milliseconds. Now energy, you have a single formula for calculating energy. Basically based on the formula for power, you can have multiple formulas, but basically it is energy is your power multiplied by time. So power across or power dissipated in resistor R3 we have calculated. We have to find the energy dissipated across R3. So we are going to use power P3 and time multiplied by time. So P3 we have already calculated in the previous part. We just have to multiply it with time. But time is given in milliseconds. So we have to convert the unit. So I have multiplied it by 10 to the power minus 3 to convert it into seconds. So that is 0.01 seconds. So now if you multiply time with the calculated power, 61.68, you would end up getting 0.617, or you can even write it as 0.62 joules. Okay, so that will be the answer for last part, G. Okay, so I hope this discussion was useful, and I have tried to include all the steps which I follow to solve this type of problem, and hope it clarifies your doubt. So thank you so much, and see you in the next class.